All right, let's get into Eden. Since the dawn shined his light over the Madison Square Garden and Eric Adam is in New York, let's tie some things together for us, okay? Because we have this circle and we have this Venn diagram. And these things can tell us a lot about our world. And we have the crossroads and that compass that we're going to be seeing soon enough with the P. Diddy. The dawn's light, okay? The dawn is that morning star. We know that the sun is the Lord God in Psalm 89:11. So the Lord God comes in Genesis and creates it on the east side. The east side is that chose sin, where they're given over to the fear of hell and they become the children of hell, and Satan starts to rule their lives and they can't do anything that man does, and they start to hate themselves and they live that grievous sin of the Sodom and Gomorrah, the Sodom and Gomorrah. And as that Elon is being laid out in one type of sod, they're going to eat that grass and it's going to become bitter to them. So the ark is where that flood comes, and we're going to start going in a different direction. And basically what has happened is Kamala is the moon, and she's over Eden right now. We've seen them together, okay, when they were on stage together, and then they weren't on stage together and they did a debate and such, or a talk or whatever, and that was them coming together, like in the daytime when you see the moon and sun together, and then the sun starts to set, and that's where Kamala is shining her light with Oprah and such, and that's part of the labor and the O show and the crowning be given and those types of things on that side. The crown was already given to Trump with Corona, and the whole world shut down, and the trumpets played and all those types of things. And the mark was given so the people know they've already taken the lines. And now the sinker is going to come and those types of things. But he's created a trapezoid. And as the moon comes over this area that's been brought over to the so-called right side in spirituality, to them that lion, and Jesus comes as that lion, and the lion is before you is that Washington, and that man, fight, is setting up that Washington. But as he comes around this ark and such, his light goes out of reach and bounds of the sheep, and they start seeing this edge of darkness out here, and it becomes dark here, and they see this cliff where they can fall over, and if they go that side and those types of things. So this is when they're cooled in, and they need cooling in because they're in that hell zone. And for them to get here, that's going to be their cutoff point. Okay? So this is when that Carnell comes, the Carnell comes, and that incarnation comes, and all those things. And there's a small point that they can make it through, but they're not going to make it through because they're going left and right, left and right, left and right, and back into the sword. And this is kind of a two-edged sword stuck in a stone in a way. And then you have that mid-deal going right now. So this is where only some of them are going to make it this far, and then it's going to pull the rest back there. All right. Either way, this, and then Elon Musk, this is basically Earth, America, all right? And then you have the dark sun come, Obama in 2008, 2009, and then you have Kamala come, the moon, or I'm sorry, dawn come, that morning star, and then you have Biden, the dark sun, as far as there's a dark sun that's shown with the eclipse that makes visible, and there's the dark sun shown without the eclipse that you can't see, that you can only see when it's in front of the other sun. Okay, so then that's kind of where that's been done now, and that's where Biden, the forbidden fruit, has taken the people into the garden and such. So that serpent, when he was reading the poem and such, was luring the people in. He had his capstone and all those things. So and this is also kind of building that wall around that trapture, that trapezoid that's setting up. So also with the ark and the bow, this is that hunter season for the prey. So this is where a lot of these people, when this ark comes, the bow comes, the next 4 years, the 48 to the 48th, this is the time when a lot of that slaughter per se happens, and the Antichrist spirit comes, and man, the spirit comes to devour the lion, the ox, or the eagle. So we're going into a new time, and as we go into a new time, we're not going to be the ox, and this is where Elon Musk is coming to take away the brainless work, basically, and the desk work, and that can be done by the AI and all those things, and then we'll be able to go and do other types of things that's required to build up the new heaven and earth for the things coming. But in order to do some of these things, it has to be done in a technological fashion or whatever. And this is when the 666, the image that's been given life, the Satan over here, the Jesus over here, the right, the wrong, all these things are taking fruits, and the spirit and the lion is coming for the man, and the lion hides in the grass, and the grass is tied to the things that are green in this world, and it ties to the tree of heaven that's given as far as to heal the nations in cannabis, and it's also to heal the nations. That heal is where you're that little dog or ox or whatever, and you have no, or you've been a tamed lion for that circus, all right, and you're just there for the show, and that's where you've already taken your mark, and you know your lines, you know the script, and you say, oh, well, that's Satan, that's bad, I can't do that. And then you go into the so-called tribulation, self-brought for 7, 8 years or whatever. When you say techno and you got to go into the this, that, and the other, they have nothing for you. And then you realize, well, where's the sign of his coming? Where's Jesus in the clouds? Where's the dead people riding? Where's all these things that they brainwash us to think? They're not happening. Well, it's because Satan controls the world, and you're given over to his book that marks you in the right hand, and it's been given in such a way and combined in such a way where you believe in a talking snake, and you believe in a ark and an Eden and all these things, when it's an allegorical book, which says, it means that when you read something, it doesn't mean what it says. And that's where Jesus spoke in parables and things, and this, the story of creation. There's 4 creations in Genesis, and it's all being crammed into one. There's God, God, and Lord. They're all being crammed into one. It's us and our. It's being taught as a singular. The sin, gul, lie. And the lay ear, for the making of the deaf. Because he has blinded you, and he has deafened you. So you cannot see and you cannot hear, and it's in your schools, it's in your hospitals, it's in your church, everywhere around you. So as the dawn shined his light, dark sun Obama, the dawn shine his light, that morning star, he's make America great again. Now he's got to fix it, build back better, fix it. Okay, so we haven't seen much destroyed yet, but that should all be coming. But as the lights are aligning, okay, everybody's like over here spiritually. So this is where they're all wrapped up in the mind, and the whole world is for Trump. And so once they get here and he flips the switch and goes into that dark dawn, and we're already seeing signs of that. Okay, and then that so-called dictatorial powers is when we're going to see the shit show before that, but when the dictatorial power starts actually coming out, that's when the so-called Mercury Project and the so-called vaccination and things, all right? This is where it's a preset script to where the Mercury Project didn't quite work, so there's a new in the old system, so we're going to a new solar system, and this is where he's being talked about. He'll come in and do this and that to the FDA. That's the Food and Drug Administration. The test is over. The lab rats, the guinea pigs, all that is done. The monkeys are done being tested on. So depending what you took in the lab, depending how toxic the environment is, that earth, the old earth is done. So is the old earth, man? Is your environment so toxic? And that doesn't necessarily mean your body. That means you're spiritual. But you're spiritual, you are what you eat. Okay, so you are what you buy and sell. And that Christ session at the right hand has already been placed. So this is where he's coming in to save America and to preserve America. And to do that, you got to get rid of your king size. You got to get rid of buffets or certain buffets. You got to get rid of Red Bulls. You got to get rid of all of these canned drinks, these artificial flavors, color, all this stuff. Okay, they're telling you that Coca-Cola, you're drinking a toilet bowl cleaner. You're not drinking a soda pop. You're drinking a toilet bowl cleaner. Okay? So the joke's on you. And the sword and the stone is about to be pulled out and used on you. And that's where you see the two-edged sword being used on the people who use the two-edged sword. Because the Bible, we're told by Jesus, is the two-edged sword where the seed of Satan is. Okay, and that's in Revelation 2. The garden is where death is where division is where the soul is created. And that's why Trump created that the golden shoes for those souls. And then the BRICS is going to take you to that new Oz, but then now he has that Susie Willis, the ice baby, whatever. But then we see the squirrel setting up, and the squirrel is, and then we saw the Peanuts, the dead squirrel that's tied to Snoopy, who's Elon, and then the squirrel for Ice Age pulls a nut out of the glacier and stuff. So we're seeing that kinds of things open up for that Grand Valley. That Grand Valley is for that bridegroom situation, for that Gemini, the Trump, and those things. But these things are lining up now. We got that G-host, the ghost of the squirrel, coming through Kamala. So it's all being blessed. Anyway, that's a little side note. But we got that when Tyr sets sin, and the set in for the birth of the man-child and all those things. So we're getting one into the other, the spiritual into the carnal. That's where these people's names are lining up to these events that are going to be coming in those things. So can't say we didn't tell you. The blood don your hands. So we've already made this Republican journey back to, well, we have to stop it here because of time.